Hi my friends, we continue our playlist. Let's translate. Итак, мы с вами переводим вопросы в отрицании во время present simple. Разве это не впечатляет тебя? Doesn't it impress you? Doesn't it impress you? Разве эта проблема не волнует тебя? Doesn't this problem worry you? Doesn't this problem worry you? Разве это не мешает тебе? Doesn't it disturb you? Doesn't it disturb you? Разве это не унижает тебя? Разве это doesn't it унижает тебя? Humiliate you. Doesn't it humiliate you? Разве ты не хочешь развивать свои таланты? Разве ты не хочешь? Don't you want развивать свои таланты? To develop your talents. Don't you want to develop your talents? Разве эти проблемы не волнуют тебя? Don't these problems worry you? Don't these problems worry you? Разве ты не понимаешь? Don't you understand? Don't you understand? Разве ты не хочешь найти более хорошо оплачиваемую работу? Разве ты не хочешь найти Don't you want to find более хорошо оплачиваемую работу? A more well-paid job. Don't you want to find a more well-paid job? Разве это не задевает твои чувства? Doesn't it hurt your feelings? Doesn't it hurt your feelings? Разве она не специализируется на бухгалтерии? Разве она не специализируется? Doesn't she specialize на бухгалтерии? In accounting. Doesn't she specialize in accounting? Doesn't it impress you? Doesn't this problem worry you? Doesn't it disturb you? Doesn't it humiliate you? Don't you want to develop your talents? Don't these problems worry you? Don't you understand? Don't you want to find a more well-paid job? Doesn't it hurt your feelings? Doesn't she specialize in accounting? Разве это не ограничивает наши права? Разве это doesn't it ограничивает наши права? Limit our rights or restrict. Doesn't it restrict our rights? Разве это не усиливает наши позиции? Doesn't it strengthen our positions? Doesn't it strengthen our positions? Разве он не координирует этот проект? Doesn't he coordinate this project? Doesn't he coordinate this project? Разве ты не хочешь уделять больше времени спорту? Разве ты не хочешь? Don't you want уделять больше времени? To devote more free time спорту. To sport. Don't you want to devote more free time to sport? Разве это не наносит вред окружающей среде? Разве это doesn't it не наносит вред do harm окружающей среде? To the environment. Doesn't it do harm to the environment? Разве это не вдохновляет тебя? Doesn't it inspire you? Doesn't it inspire you? Разве это не шокирует тебя? Doesn't it shock you? Doesn't it shock you? Разве ты не копируешь их ошибки? Don't you copy their mistakes? Don't you copy their mistakes? Разве ты не знаешь, что это работает? Разве ты не знаешь? Don't you know, что это работает? That it works. Don't you know that it works? Разве это не волнует тебя? Doesn't it worry you? Doesn't it worry you? Doesn't it limit our rights? Or doesn't it restrict our rights? Doesn't it strengthen our positions? Doesn't he coordinate this project? Don't you want to devote more free time to sport? Doesn't it do harm to the environment? Doesn't it inspire you? Doesn't it shock you? Don't you copy their mistakes? Don't you know that it works? Doesn't it worry you? Разве это не мотивирует тебя? Doesn't it motivate you? Doesn't it motivate you? Разве они не эксплуатируют своих рабочих? Разве они? Don't they эксплуатируют? Exploit своих рабочих? Their workers. Don't they exploit their workers? Разве она не консультирует? Doesn't she consult? Doesn't she consult? Разве ты не хочешь уделять больше свободного времени английскому? Разве ты не хочешь? Don't you want уделять, to devote, больше свободного времени, more free time, английскому, to English. Don't you want to devote more free time to English? Разве ты не пытаешься минимизировать издержки? Разве ты не пытаешься? Don't you try минимизировать издержки? To minimize the costs. Don't you try to minimize the costs? Разве это не ограничивает нашу свободу? Doesn't it limit our freedom? Doesn't it limit our freedom? Or doesn't it restrict our freedom? Разве это не касается тебя? Doesn't it concern you? Doesn't it concern you? Разве это не вызывает загрязнения? Разве это? Doesn't it вызывает cause загрязнение, pollution? Doesn't it cause pollution? Разве он не специализируется на маркетинге? Разве он не специализируется? Doesn't he specialize на маркетинге? In marketing. Doesn't he specialize in marketing? Разве эти вещи не касаются тебя? Don't these things concern you? Don't these things concern you? Doesn't it motivate you? Don't they exploit their workers? Doesn't she consult? Don't you want to devote more free time to English? Don't you try to minimize the costs? Doesn't it limit our freedom? Or doesn't it restrict our freedom? Doesn't it concern you? Doesn't it cause pollution? Doesn't he specialize in marketing? Don't these things concern you? Разве эта вещь не касается тебя? Doesn't this thing concern you? Doesn't this thing concern you? Разве ты не осознаешь это? Don't you realize it? Don't you realize it? Разве он не специализируется на продажах? Doesn't he specialize in sales? Doesn't he specialize in sales? Разве это не унижает его? Разве это doesn't it не унижает его? Humiliate him. Doesn't it humiliate him? Разве это не ослабевает наши позиции? Разве это не ослабевает? Doesn't it weaken наши позиции? Our positions. Doesn't it weaken our positions? Doesn't this thing concern you? Don't you realize it? Doesn't he specialize in sales? Doesn't it humiliate him? Doesn't it weaken our positions? My friends, thank you. We continue this playlist.